Hi, today we're going to put it all together. We're going to do all the different movements of the spine in all the different positions that we can. Should take about an hour. I call this Hatha for the 7 movements of the spine. I hope you enjoy it. Let's start on our backs or seated, and we'll do a little chakra meditation because serendipitously, there are also 7 chakras. So let's go ahead and relax, whether that's seated or lying down is your choice. You just want to be able to find a position where your back is nice and tall. And the first chakra is the root or the tailbone. Take a deep breath there, in and out. The second chakra is at the sacrum, the low back and the low belly. Take a breath in and out there. The third chakra location is at the navel, so breathe right into your belly, in and out. The next one is at the heart, breathing in and out of the heart. And then the 6th chakra is the throat. Breathe in and out as if you could breathe with your throat. And then that was the 5th. Actually, the 6th is at the 3rd eye. So imagine you can breathe through the middle of your forehead, between your eyebrows. In and out. And the last one is the very top of the head, the crown. Breathing in and out there. And then bring your awareness back down to your tailbone. Inhale as you slide your awareness and your breath up your spine, through all of the chakra spots, up through the crown of the head and a little bit above your head. Hold the breath there for a moment or two, as long as you'd like, and then open your mouth and breathe it all out. Let's do that 2 more times. Draw the energy up from the root, the tailbone. Hold on to the breath until you're ready, and then let it go. Inhale and exhale. And then if you haven't done it already, let's go ahead and move onto your back, onto the spine. And you can have the knees bent or the legs stretched out long. As you are here breathing, begin to imagine again the tailbone, and inhale along the length of your spine up to the top of your head. Keeping your mouth closed, breathing through your nose, breathe out, back down to your tailbone again. And do this several times at your own speed with your mouth closed if you can. Inhaling up from the tailbone to the crown. Exhaling from the crown to the tailbone. And you can let that go and just wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe blink your eyes and look around a little bit. Twist out your wrists, maybe point and flex your feet. And we're going to take the first movement of the spine on our back, which is extension. Lengthen the arms over your head, point your toes, maybe even pick your legs up one by one and reach them down further on your mat. Try not to push and just gently stretch your feet and your hands apart. Take big breaths here. You can feel the ribs open and close. One more time. Lowering the arms by your side, step your feet onto the mat and take a moment here. And we're just going to flatten the low back, really flat. You might even feel your buns lift off the floor, but the low back is still connected. And then just with your breath, inhale, rock your belly up, create a little arch in your low back. Exhale, press the flat of the back to the floor. And do this a few more times. This is our second and third movement of the spine, cat and cow. Let's make this a little bigger, putting it into a bridge or an arch pose, feet about hips width apart. Roll those shoulders back, arms by your side, maybe tuck your chin a little bit, nothing under your head. Inhale, On your exhale, squeeze your glutes and lift your hips up into the air. Take a breath in here. On the exhale, lower back down, and then breathe in again. So we're moving on the exhale. Squeeze those glutes and lift the hips. One more breath in. Exhale, lower down. Now you can choose to hold your bridge pose here and breathe several deep breaths. This is so strengthening for the hips, the spine, the body. You can feel a nice stretch in the quads. Or you can move with your breath. Just a few more times, lifting and lowering, strengthening the body this morning. And then when you're ready, you'll come down, take a moment, maybe rock the knees slightly side to side, and then begin to bring them into your chest. Give them a nice squeeze so that you pull them in enough to lift the very base of your buns off the floor. Yeah, squeeze them in, good. And then rock a little bit side to side. And we'll move into our twists. I like to take my arms out wide into a T and start to engage the core. Maybe place the palms down on the floor so you get a little bit more grip. Rocking side to side. This is a low back, mid back twist. And eventually you might decide to come all the way to the floor, keeping those knees drawn up into your chest will help support the low back and pull that stretch right up through your armpit. Feels so good. Take another breath. Lift the weight of your legs with the exhale. Pause in the middle and then rock to the other side. You can lay there as you breathe and stretch. Inhale, still in the twist. On the exhale, lift the weight of the legs. Good. And then begin to push your feet up high in the air. Maybe do a little bit of knee bending, feet flexing. Feel free to roll your ankles around, move your legs around in the air. We're just still in the warm-up phase here. And eventually we're just going to slowly bring our legs down to the floor and take the arms over the head one more time. Another extension here. We're going to move into our side stretch. So I like to just scoot my feet together or one at a time over to the left bottom corner of the mat, and then maybe scoot my arms, maybe my shoulders a little bit to the top left corner. We're going to take 2 breaths, stretching that outside of the body. Moving the head and the shoulders and hands back first. Scoot the feet all the way over to the other corner of the mat, and then add the top of the body. And 2 deep breaths here. And back to center. Good. You can step your feet back up on the mat, bring your hands back down, maybe rock a little bit. We're just shaking it out. And we're gonna roll over onto our side and come to seated. We did all 7 movements on our back. Actually, let's pause and do our side body before we come all the way up. So go ahead and just roll onto your side, stretch your legs out, come up onto your elbow, and you're in this really nice side stretch already. And we'll take the arm over the head and then reach for the toes. And you can rock your hips here to add the stretch to the outside of the body, and then get that underside stretch again. And you might even bend your knees. That might feel good too. To rock. And just one more time. Over the head and back. Good. And then we'll go ahead and come all the way down onto our side. Go ahead and just make a little pillow for your head. So we've stretched our side body. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of cat-cow movement here. So pull the knees forward. And then take your top knee into your chest, tuck your chin, maybe even point your nose towards your knee. And then as you slide your foot back, you can grab hold of the ankle, the shin, lean back slightly with your shoulders and your head. Inhale here, and exhale. You can let go of the foot and squeeze it in. We'll just do that a few more times. Inhale and exhale. If this hurts your knee, don't hold on to the foot. just push it back and reach back behind you with the other arm. Or of course you can use a strap, but that gets a little complicated. Good. And then right back to resting on your side. Good. We'll begin to lift the top arm up, maybe move it around a little bit. See how your shoulder feels today. Never move your shoulder in any position that hurts. And then we'll take the arm right out in front of us. As we inhale, we lift it up and over and lay it down behind us. This is our opening the shoulders twist. This moves the twist way up into the top of the body. Bring it back over. And you can move with your breath, inhaling it behind you, exhaling it back, forward again, or you can just take a really long time creating whatever movement you like with your breath. And the top knee definitely has to move, has to readjust. Good. We'll just do that one more time. And those are all the 7 movements on our side, on this side. So we have to sit up and swing around to the other side. So go ahead and push yourself up. Place both hands on the mat, pointing toward the top of the mat, and look up. This is a nice back bending twist. And then go ahead and keep sitting up. Walk those hands in. Swing your legs around to the other side. Scoot yourself to the middle. And go ahead and come down onto your elbow. And your legs can be straight out, or your knees can be bent as you take the top arm up. You can rock those ribs back and forth. This is our side stretch. I'm inhaling when my arm goes over, exhaling as it comes down to my hips. Good. And then we'll go ahead and lay down. Let's stretch out nice and long. Full body stretch. This is our balance. Always want to fall over here. And then take the hand in front so you feel stabilized. Bend the knees into a 90-degree angle. You can make a little pillow for your head. You can always grab a block and put that under your head as well. Take a breath here, just relaxing. We're going to move into our cat-cow. So we're going to pull the top knee in and then slowly push the foot back. You can hold on to the foot, the toes, whatever you like. Maybe lean your head back a little bit of a back bend. Inhale here and exhale, pull the knee in. Just a couple more times with your breath. And then slowly relax. So now we've got our side stretch, our cat-cow, and now we need to do our twist. So we'll lift the arm up in the air, get those fingers moving, the wrist. Feel into your shoulder a little bit. And then taking the hand straight out in front of you, we're going to inhale the arm over. Exhale the arm back a couple of times. Try to do everything about 3 or 4 times. I've heard it said that if you try to shoot for 6, that's actually even better because it's easy for the brain to do 5, and adding 1 more just adds a little bit more neuron connection there. And then eventually coming back to center, take a breath. You can begin to sit up, walking those hands onto the mat. You can take a moment for your twisted sphinx, your back bending twist. Lifting the head, maybe tucking the chin, and then sitting up. And now we'll move into 7 movements of the spine, seated. So of course we want to start with the spine long and tall. You never have to sit crisscross. I always like to sit up on something. I'm just going to grab a block because it just helps the low back get a little bit more of that outward curve that is actually its natural position. If you prefer, you can always have a leg out, a leg long. You can have soles of the feet together. Really depends on what you love. So we'll start by inhaling the arms up in the air. Just getting really long and tall. Make sure your chin is parallel to the floor. Wiggle those fingers. And then we're going to take the arms out to the sides and then slightly behind us, past your peripheral vision. Open the heart, maybe rock the belly forward. Inhale, lift the chin slightly. And as your arms come forward, begin to tuck the chin, pull the belly in and round the spine. If you're protecting your back because of osteoporosis, then you're just going to keep this movement up in the shoulders. It would look more like this. You would just be moving the arms forward and back. And you always want to keep your spine straight or slightly back bending as a therapeutic way of helping with osteoporosis. One more time. Inhale, heart opens. Exhale, pulls in. Good. And then the hands come back up again, and we'll go side to side. I like to exhale as I lean in, and then inhale as I switch to the other side. Exhale over. Just once more to each side. And then we're back up again. And I'm going to turn to one side, let the hands come down into a twist. Deep breath. Lift on the inhale. Switch to the other side and take a breath. And right back up to center. Nice. Twist out those wrists. And just shake the hands out. And if you notice, one of your legs is on top or in front. So we're just going to lean back, lift the legs, shake them out a little bit, and bring the other leg in front. And we're going to do that one more time. I can never remember which switch it is. You'll know because it'll be the awkward way. Okay, so we'll take the arms back behind us, heart opens, and then bring the arms forward. And we'll just do that 2 times. Lifting the hands up in the air, inhale, rock to one side, and then inhale up and over to the other side. And if I'm hurrying you, please take your time. It's so important to stick with your own rhythm, your own breath, because it's your spine that we are moving today. Take the arms back up in the air and twist. The hands come down, one in front, one behind, and breathe. Up in the air on the inhale, down on the exhale, and breathe. Excellent work. We'll shake those wrists out, and we'll come up onto hands and knees. I'm going to go a little bit sideways so you can see me a little bit better here. So we're going to start with the cat-cow movement. The hands are under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, fingers spread wide. Just drop the belly and then round the spine. And this one is pretty much safe for everybody. Even if there is osteoporosis, because of the way that gravity works here, it's much safer for your spine. Good. Cat and cow. Feel free to do as many of those as you like. And then we're going to do a flow that's just a mix of side stretches, extending the spine, and twisting. So we'll come to table, nice flat back. Reach out with your whichever leg you like first. Lift it up to the height of your hip. Bring the opposite hand up. This is our full extension, gaze down, deep breath. The hand comes back into position. The toes swing over across and behind the other foot. So now we've crossed our leg, and then we look over the shoulder to see the toes. This is our side stretch. And then you can stay in this position, lean into the hand that is opposite the knee on the floor. Bring the other hand to the hip and twist. Squeeze your thighs together and breathe. Slowly come back down. Good. Then we're going to take the foot behind, right behind the other foot. Kick the knee bent foot off to the side, drop the heel of the other leg, and open your arm up in the air. This is our side stretch. Deep stretch here. Good. And then we're going to come back down, roll through your ribs there. Good. The back toes come up, the other foot swings back, and we're going to lift the opposite hand again into the twist. Very nice. And then bring it down. Good. And the knee comes back, and you can take a child's pose. Maybe just a few more cat-cows. You can even step the hands forward and find a little back bend. Good. And then we'll do that on the other side. Table pose, stretch the other leg out, lift it up to the height of the hip. Reach out with the opposite hand. You can even point the toes, gaze down and breathe. And then only the hand comes down as the foot swings across and over the other leg to the floor. Lean into the hand that's opposite the knee on the floor. Bring the other hand to the hip and twist. I think we missed our lateral stretch by not looking over our shoulder at the toes first. So go ahead and do that. And then bring your head back to center. We're gonna kick the knee bent foot off to the side, drop the other toes to the floor, and then the heel, open the arm up, lean and stretch the side body. Oh my goodness. And then roll down. Bring everything back in line and lean onto that hand you just placed on the floor as you open and do a twist one more time. But this time the leg's not crossed. Okay. And bring it back. Good. Table pose. Let's do a few more cat-cows. Maybe a child's pose. Let's just widen the knees apart, big toes together. Let's let our hips sink down toward our heels. You can fold your hands, turn your head, and let your body really rest. This is a really good extension for the spine as well, especially if your knees are nice and wide and your belly can kind of float down between them. This maintains the length of the spine rather than rounding that low back. Start to reach your hands out in front of you, really walk them forward, pull back with your hips and walk those fingers forward even more. One more breath. And slowly come on up. And just as a quick ending here on our knees, we're just going to do a couple of the movements really nice and small. Just a few tips of the tailbone, rocking back and forth. Good. And then swing your hips from side to side. Maybe add your head. So you're wagging your tail. This is our lateral stretch, side bending. And then you can slide one hand behind the other, coming down onto the shoulder. You don't even have to put any weight on this shoulder. If you hold the weight in this hand on the floor, take a breath. And then come back up and try the other side. And that's all of our movements on our knees. Good. Slowly curl your toes under, shift your hips back and up into down dog. Maybe take a moment here. This is just such a great full body stretch. Can't miss it. You can play with your heels. You can bend your knees a lot. I like to say just play. And don't stay any longer than it feels good to you. We're going to slowly start to walk our hands toward our feet and our feet toward our hands. Nice deep bend in the knees. You can lay your belly on your thighs and let your head hang. And then lifting the head first, lead with the back of your head. Maybe your arms flow by your sides or they come up and down to the heart. Very nice. And we'll do all 7 movements of the spine in our standing poses, and then we'll also do a quick sun salute as well. So I'm already moving side to side here with my hands at my heart just because it feels so good. Let's go ahead and fully extend the spine, lifting the hands up. Reach up out of your waist, feel the ribs lift away from your hip bones, and then start to tip, a big tip side to side. And just as I said in our smaller sequences when we were doing our standing, I said notice the hips. So let's start by keeping them centered and just lean the top of the body from side to side. Try not to move the hips very much at all. And then come back to center, maybe step your feet slightly wider. Now swing your hips as you lean away. Ooh. That gets right down into the hip socket and then over to the other side. Very nice. And then come back up. Good. As your hands come down, maybe start swinging them a little bit side to side. And since we already have our feet a little wider, you might want to step them even wider apart. We want to kick the heel up as we swing away. We want to keep the knees safe and moving and breathing. Very nice. So we've already done full extension, side stretches, and now twisting. And so we'll add our cat and cow. So just as when we were seated, if there's any osteoporosis, you're not going to round very low. You're just going to take your arms up and then forward, and you can pull the belly back, the heart back, and then you can open the heart. You can move your hands behind you and just do this a few times. Heart in, tuck it in, and heart forward. Good. And of course, you can also do, taking your hands to your hips, you can take that low back camel, standing camel pose, low back kind of pressing into there and push the hips forward, lead with your pelvis, lift the head if it feels okay for your neck. Keep breathing and lifting up and slowly release. Good. And we're going to come forward into a half fold. Keep the spine flat and long. We never want to flop too quickly between a back bend and a forward fold, especially when standing or seated. I'm just going to swing my hips a little bit side to side, move the shoulders. Eventually I'm going to move into that forward fold. Good. And let's, in our forward fold, this is just for fun, you can turn around like an elephant, walk up to the top of the mat, and we're going to move into our sun salute. Lifting those hands up in the air, bring them together, and down to the heart. Good. So here we go. Inhale, we reach up. Exhale, we forward fold. Maybe hands to the thighs, the shins, or the floor. Beat a bend in the knees. Good. And we'll step back. Let's step back with our right foot first. Nice long lunge. Plant the right hand next to that front foot. Open the left arm. We're adding this twist into our sun salute. Good. Bring both hands to the mat. Step that front foot back. You can stay here in plank, or you can drop your knees as you lower elbows in towards your chest all the way down to the floor. You can flatten the feet. Keep your elbows tucked to your ribs as you lift into cobra or up dog. And then move into table pose. You can pause there. You can widen your knees apart, slowly moving into an extended child's pose, long spine. Keep your hands heavy and reaching forward. Deep breath. And then back to table. The knees come back under the hips. Curl those toes. We're going to lift into down dog. Inhale. And exhale. And then you can bring that right foot forward, or you can walk both feet forward. So if your right foot comes forward, you have a little bit extra lunge. If you're just walking both feet together, you'll eventually meet us in half fold. Nice flat back. Lift all the way up on the inhale and down to the heart. Good. And we'll do that on the other side. Inhale up. Exhale to that half fold, forward fold. Bend the knees, plant the hands, and step back this time with the left foot. We're going to plant that left hand, lift the right arm up, twist. Bring the hand down, plant it nice and firm, step that foot back, plank or knee down. Tuck those elbows in toward the chest and slowly lower your belly to the floor. Here's our back bend. Moving it slowly to table, maybe pause there. You can keep your knees together if it's okay to round the low back, or widen your knees if that's better. Reach forward with those fingertips. Extend the spine and then come back to table. Find a down dog, keep breathing, and slowly come to the front of your mat. Maybe step the foot forward or walk yourself forward. Half fold and then all the way up. Very nice. And the hand comes to the heart. Good. And then we'll come to the middle of the mat. And let's just pause for a moment in mountain pose. We can move back into the breath, moving up and down the spine. Inhale from the root of the tailbone, the first chakra, all the way up to the crown of the head. Exhale back down again. You could add to this the length of your body. Imagine you can inhale up through the soles of your feet, through your whole body, up to the crown of the head. And then exhale, send that energy back down through the soles of your feet into the floor, into the ground. One more grounding breath. Inhale up and exhale down. Good. And we just have a little bit more work to do. Let's go ahead and step our feet wide apart. We'll do the 7 movements in standing poses. So let's just get our hips a little bit juiced up here, side to side, maybe hands on your hips. We're going to turn those left toes out. You want to make sure that the heel of that left foot is in line with the back arch. And then we're going to start to bend into that knee. Good. Take the arms out to a T. And then begin to bend that left elbow, place it on your thighs, reach up. This is our side stretch. Inhale here. As you exhale, bring yourself back up. Now lift that front arm up. Let's bend, back bend. Yeah, exalted warrior. Good. And let's just go back and forth a few times. Nice and slow. This is a combination of side stretch and back bend. It's a unique combination in our 7 movements. And just one more time into that back bend, and then the arms come back to a T, straighten the knee, turn the toes forward. Let's take a forward fold. Keep the spine long and flat as you lean forward. If your knees are not bent at all, you'll feel a stretch right away. If you give them a little bit of a bend, then you can kind of lengthen that stretch out the back of your legs. One more breath. And lift on the exhale. And we'll turn the other toes out. Right toes out. Make sure you've got them in line with that back arch, if that works for your hips, and then bend the knees. Good. Arms go out wide like a T, and the right elbow starts to bend as we bring the forearm to the thigh. The top hand reaches over, full side stretch. Deep breath. On the exhale, begin to pinwheel those arms so that the front arm comes up and the back arm just taps the thigh, and then back into extended angle. Try to move on the exhale. It's just safer for the back. And one more exalted warrior. And then we're back to the arms in a T, warrior 2 position, straightening the knee. Turn those toes forward. Let's take one more forward fold. Feel free to place your hands on the floor or on a block. Maybe kick your heels out, toes in a little bit as you stretch up through different tendons in the legs. Get into the shins a little bit. Drop the head. And then leading with the back of the head again. Lift it up. Bring those heels in, toes out. Maybe bend your knees. Get a little goddess pose thrown in here. And slowly step up. Stand up and begin to step your feet together. Let's just swing the feet side to side. Just notice how your low back is feeling. It's probably getting pretty tired, which is a good thing, because we're using it. So now we're going to move into our twisting. So we've done our side to side and our forward and back and our extension. So let's just add a little twist. Coming to the top of your mat, you're going to step back with the right foot, front foot pointing forward, back foot pointing forward, pretty much. A little bend in that front knee. Hands are still on the hips. As you lean forward slightly, lead with the heart so that the spine stays long and even slightly back bended. And then take the opposite hand from that leg in front and cross over to the thigh and begin to turn the shoulders. Now you can stay here with your knee bent. This is revolve triangle / warrior 1. If you straighten the knee, then it's really a revolve triangle. It's a lot harder balance as well. Breathe deep, push into your feet. You can add the arms if that feels good to you. And then slowly leading with that top shoulder, bring yourself back, bend that knee. Good. Bring the shoulders back up above the hips and step forward. Nice work. And I'm going to switch to the other end of my mat so you can see my twist, but you don't have to. We're going to just come into mountain, step back with the other foot, left foot this time. Bend in the front knee. Shoulders are over the hips at first, and then we start to lean on a diagonal. The heart leads the way. And then slowly take the hand across to the thigh, twist into the shoulders. You can feel this twisting in the hips. Kind of gently squeeze the top of your legs together. You can keep the knee bent or begin to straighten it out, adding that long leg stretch. And of course, you can add the hands. Revolved triangle, not a simple pose. And slowly lead back with your shoulders, your head. Bend the knee and step up. Very nice. Okay. Take another breath or two, and we're going to slowly come down to seated. And you can come down through a down dog and a table, or you could come down through a squat pose, feet wide, heels in, toes out. Whatever you do, eventually you're going to bring your bottom to the floor, stretch your legs out long in front of you for a staff pose. Nice deep breaths. Maybe lift your chin up and down a few times to see how your neck is feeling. And then if your back is needing to be protected because it has osteoporosis, you'll just step your hands forward towards your knees on either side and start to lean from the hips, keeping the spine long. Also bending the knees feels really good here. So the spine stays long, and when you feel that it's starting to strain down here, that's where you're gonna stop. If you know that your spine is safe from osteoporosis and you don't need to worry about that, then you're gonna go ahead and let the shoulders round and bring your nose towards your knees or your legs. You can straighten the knees out or you can keep them bent. Deep breath, forward fold. And slowly coming up. Very nice. And we're gonna throw in a little bit of belly work here. So let's go ahead and swing the legs around, come onto table pose, and then walk hands and knees apart, coming down onto your belly. And we'll start by just rocking those hips side to side, lengthening the legs out, trying to get a little longer between the waist and the knees. And take a breath, maybe turn your head to one side. Breathe into your belly so you can really feel that air against the mat. Maybe slowly begin to bring your arms down by your sides. And this might be enough for you today. You might want to just hang out here and breathe. Or you might want to begin to lift your shoulders. Bring your chin back to center. Maybe lift your head. You can keep your arms, your hands, your feet on the floor. Or you can add them. Lifting the hands up, lifting the legs up, full locust pose. Or you could come into a Superman, or you could take opposite hand and foot up and down. This is simply strengthening the back. Deep breath. And then relax. And then we'll begin to slide that knee up toward your armpit. And to get our side stretch in here, what we're going to do is reach out with the hands, walk them over to the top corner that corresponds with the knee that's sticking out, and then slide that bottom foot over toward the bottom corner, and then lay back down here. You can feel that side stretch all the way through the side of the body. Deep breath. And then we're going to begin to add a twist. So we'll take the front arm, the hand to the floor in front of us. We'll start to roll onto that bottom shoulder. You can just make a little pillow for your head on your arm. We're going to start to bend the long leg that's behind us and then reach back for it if it feels good for you. And then we're going to start to push the front foot into the floor as we lift the knee and roll the top shoulder back. This is cat pulling its tail. This is our twist. And a deep breath here. Keep breathing as you slowly move out of the shape. Stretch your legs back. Take your arms long. Very nice. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Begin to bend that knee. Opposite knee, start to walk the hands to the top corner, the bottom foot to the corner. Take 2 deep breaths. Probably just keeping your head on the arm where it is. Begin to bend that back leg. Reach back with your top hand. Push the knee and the foot into the floor. Maybe lift them up as you roll back into cat pulling its tail. And this shoulder can come toward the floor. It doesn't have to touch. And one more breath. And gently unwind and come back to your belly. Really nice work. And we're going to slowly come up. I like to army crawl my elbows in. Slowly lift the hips. Let's just pause with the elbows under the shoulders. Maybe take a few cat-cows. And then the hands come to the floor. We crawl the knees forward. And we're going to come to a low kneel. If it's not good for your knees to kneel, then don't worry about that. Just come to a seat. Because we're really going to come into deer pose. So the left shin is parallel with either the front of your mat or the side of your mat. The other leg is bent back. Good. And we'll begin those 7 movements one more time. Inhale the arms up, extend. Good. Take the hands down in front of you for your forward fold. Keep the spine long if you're protecting for osteoporosis, or begin to walk those hands forward, and you can let your head come toward the floor. One more breath. And then come on up. If you'd prefer to do a pigeon variation, you can walk your hands over toward that knee, come down onto that hip. Ah, feels really good. You can begin to stretch the back leg out, come up all the way onto full pigeon here, or keep the knees bent and just take one more relaxing breath. And then using the hands to push into the floor and come on up. We're going to keep our legs just like they are, maybe rearrange them so that we're more stable. Hands go back up again, and we're just going to rock from one side to the other. This is our side stretch. Hands come down, and we can twist. And it doesn't matter which side you do first. We're going to do both. Very nice. Let's lean back, lift your legs up, pause with your shins parallel to the sky, maybe wiggle your feet a little bit, just a little boat pose, and then swing the legs to the other side. The right shin in front. Good. Take the arms up to extend the spine, and then slowly come forward. Nice. You can lean forward if it's safe, or you can stay up quite tall. As you breathe into that hip, you should really be feeling it down here in this hip and in the glute and in the back of that leg. You can walk the hands over to the knee and lay the head down. You can stretch the leg out for pigeon pose. I like to call this sloppy pigeon. It's just a pigeon variation. And then the legs come back to their position, spine long and tall, and we'll lean side to side. Hands come back up or down as we twist from side to side. Oh, feels really good. That twist gets right down in those hips. All right, and then we're gonna just swing the legs out. We're going to take a minute. Let's actually go down through a position called fish. So this, you take your hands like a triangle, like this. I don't know if you can see them. And we're going to put the base, our pinky fingers right at the top of our butt crack. I know that sounds pretty funny. We're going to put them right there, and we're going to keep that triangle as we start to lay back. Good. Lay all the way back. And then slide the thumbs down to the butt crack. Walk your elbows in, open your heart. You can lengthen your legs out here, and then begin to lift your heart. You can push into your elbows. Deep breath, nice deep back bend. You can let the crown of your head touch the floor. You can skip this all together. Slowly lower the back down, widen the elbows, and take those hands out. Good. And let's just rock a little bit, side to side. We are coming toward the very end here. We just have a few cool down movements to do. One of my favorites, wind relieving pose. Pull that right knee into the chest. You can stretch your left leg out. Nice deep breath. Bringing the left knee in on that exhale. Stretch the other leg out. One more breath. Pull the right knee back in. Now they're both together. You could take a happy baby here, which would be the feet flat toward the sky and wide apart. You can grab hold on the sides of the legs or behind, on the sides of the feet or behind the legs. Good. And just stretch out that low back, maybe rock a little bit. If you like an inversion, you could hang out here for a minute. You can put your hands up under your hips. You could rock yourself up into a shoulder stand or a plow. Remembering that inversions are hard on the back, especially with osteoporosis, so be gentle and careful. And then eventually we're going to move into our final twist. So let's go ahead and move our hips with this twist. The feet are about hips width apart. Let's scoot our hips over toward the left edge of the mat, and then let the knees rock to the right. And so we're stacking the hips, and then the knees, the top knees usually a little further back. Take a big breath. Let's really let the legs get soft. Breathe into your belly. When you're ready to move out of the twist, maybe 2 or 3 breaths there. Walk your feet onto the mat, push into your feet and lift the hips back to center. Make sure everything's lined up, shoulders, hips, feet, good. And then scoot the hips to the right edge and rock the knees over toward the left. Open the arms and breathe. Hands back to your sides, lifting those knees up, scoot those hips back to center. And this is where you decide what you'd like to do for your Shavasana. Sometimes I like to have my feet wide, my knees touching. Sometimes the legs stretch out. And feel free to just lie there and rest. So let's end with that and a couple of ohms. Just continue to lay on your spine if you'd like, or slowly make your way up to seated. Take a couple deep breaths in and out. Breathing in together, we breathe out on the om. Maybe you can feel that vibration in your heart. One more time. Thank you. Thank you for moving your spine with me today. Namaste.